What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Kory Willis. I hope everyone out there is doing well on a Friday, getting ready for a great weekend of college football, college playoff football out there. Overall, guys, I hope you all out there are doing well. As always, guys, we appreciate you all listening to the show. You know where to find us. We're on many different streaming platforms out there, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show, guys. It's definitely important for us. It helps us know how we can improve the show for you guys in the future. And we're also on TikTok as well, the Breakdown Sportscast. You can find us on there. We have all of our, or at least some of our shows. We're currently trying to put up a couple more clips for you guys. But some of the interesting topics that me and Chris have discussed on this show for you guys are on our exclusive TikTok account. So be sure to follow that app as well, guys. But as always, we appreciate you all listening to the show. As always, guys, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, my brother?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Just trying to keep up with what is the Wild Wild West and all the craziness that continues to happen day by day, hour by hour with the portal. I mean, it's still alive and jumping.
This portal, Chris. Look, had me and you talked about during the off season, or at least a couple years before the transfer portal was a thing, that people would be, sticking up programs and institutions for more money so they can stay at their respective schools that they just happen to not want to be at.
people dipping their toes in the portal for 36 hours just to get some more money. Just to turn around, but you know what? I'm staying. And I wonder why. I wonder what made you stay.
Oh my God, this is the ultimate hustle, man. Like, look, all of that time, of us as kids, hustling, selling the chocolate bars and stuff at our school, having, being the candy man and women of our schools and stuff. Back in the day, Chris, like nothing compares to what we're seeing now. This is the ultimate hustle.
These the real hustles, man. I can't hate the player, hate the game. So, I mean, it is what the system allows them to do right now.
From what it seems like, yeah, I think you're right. I've never seen anything like this, Chris. But hey, life in the transfer portal. I know a lot of people have been saying, like, hey, just, let's let it play out. We got the house settlement coming soon, of course. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can restore some order, Chris, and get this thing back functioning.
Restore, as if they're ever.
I think the football, the NIL agents have got my boy Chris, of course. So yeah, folks. It's crazy going on in the transfer portal right now. I don't know what's going to happen with all this, and I think Chris is back. Can you hear us, Chris?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You just went out for a little bit, of course. Yeah, I was just telling the audience about just the craziness with the transfer portal and everything. But with the house settlement and everything coming real soon this coming summer, maybe we can kind of restore order on some things and kind of get things back into motion where it's not all crazy. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, well, we will see. I mean, if something has to happen, something's got to be done. But since we're on the topic of the portal, we might as well get into it, huh?
Yeah. What you think?
I don't know. I don't know if you've noticed this, Kory. I'm sure you have, but what
Mm-hmm.
sticks out to me, the SEC is already a loaded conference with talent,
Yeah.
and just that guys going into the league or guys already in the league.
I think Chris just went out again. Can you hear me, Chris?
I can hear you. It was showing that you went out on my end. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, definitely make sure that the connection is still good enough. I'm close by my router, so I shouldn't have too
Okay.
many issues, folks. But I'll keep monitoring it, of course. But as you were saying,
But yeah, the influx of talent, Kory. I mean, guys coming into the league and the guys who are already in the league going to other teams in the league. Like just just to name a few. The likes of like a Mario Craver
mm-hmm,
at State going to A&M.
mm-hmm,
You know,
it's big news.
it's huge news. That's a
Mm-hmm,
big time get. Nick Anderson,
mm-hmm.
when healthy, he's one of the better wide receivers in the country from Oklahoma to LSU.
Much
Barryon
needed.
Brown from much needed. Barryon Brown, Kentucky to LSU.
Mm-hmm,
Um, I mean, this is just more guys. Eric Singleton Jr., the top player
mm-hmm.
in the portal, predicted to go from Tech to Auburn, Georgia Tech to Auburn.
At first, he was an old
I
Miss
mean,
lean.
but then Ole Miss, they got Caleb Odom,
Yeah.
former 5-star wide
Mm-hmm.
receiver from Alabama.
Wow.
Um, Isaiah Horton predicted to go from Miami to Alabama. I mean, it's nothing but just extremely talented guys. It's going from one school to another. I mean, I think Caleb Odom to Ole Miss is going to be something special potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Odom is extremely talented. He didn't get his moment, like for real with Alabama this season. But I think he's going to the perfect system to showcase his talent. And then also Dane Key, Kentucky wide receiver, extremely talented,
Mm-hmm.
going to Georgia. I mean,
Man.
this is just so much going on and so many good players that if you know college football, you know how talented these guys are, and you know a guy like Dane Key, what he's capable of doing at a Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
now given the opportunity to be in a system like that where they need a wide receiver to step up, and he is that guy. I'm not telling you he can be that guy. I'm telling you Dane Key is that guy. He was at an inept offense in Kentucky that didn't know how to scheme him or Barryon Brown the ball. Offensive line was poor. Nothing was set up for those guys to succeed. Barryon Brown and Dane Key will both play themselves into the NFL this season for the teams they have transferred to. They are that good.
Yeah, I think those are some really good pickups for those teams out there. I was wondering about Dane Key because I'm not sure if you have felt this, Chris, but it was kind of quiet a little bit with Dane Key. Like we didn't know where this guy was
He
going.
entered the
We just knew
portal.
he was in the portal. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, like you said, Dane, he hit the portal, just was on hush.
Mm-hmm.
Was real quiet for a minute, but Georgia got him one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, congrats to Kirby Smart and their coaching staff. I mean, getting a guy like Dane Key is very important for them because they definitely needed a top tier world class receiver for the Bulldogs next season. And I mean, having somebody like Dane Key is definitely a good starting point.
Lying. You are not lying. So it's the same thing. If Auburn locks in Eric Singleton,
Mm-hmm.
that's what that offense needs. Especially, there's been some guys that have hit the portal for Auburn, so they had to replace and reload at that
Mm-hmm.
position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like from the looks of it, Auburn Auburn is kind of like one of those unsung heroes right now of the portal. They're doing really well with their portal recruiting as of right now. So, yeah, we're definitely going to see what happens with a lot of these guys. A guy like John Mateer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
had big time numbers, Chris, at Washington State. He's now at Oklahoma. I'm interested to see what Mateer does next season because quarterback play was a big issue for the Sooners this past season. Can things get fixed? Can Brent Venables get things rolling down there in Norman, Chris, with a top level quarterback like Mateer? I mean, we talked about him on this show. He's a really good quarterback. I think he has a knack for playing in the SEC, and now that he gets that opportunity, the bright lights will be on him for sure.
Um, yeah, no, that's a good mention. You know, a nice pickup. I think the key for Oklahoma is they have to improve offensive line play. Like it doesn't matter who's back there at quarterback if they can't protect,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be tough. And I think that's been proven the last 2 seasons to be this offense's weakness is the offensive line play.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good pickup. Can you keep them upright? If you keep them upright, Oklahoma, they have a stingy defense. They have a chance to beat anybody in the SEC, honestly, with the kind of defense that they can play. Now, imagine that defense with actually good offense.
Mm-hmm. I know. I know, which is very much needed after the season we saw. So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. So many top level talent in this transfer portal. This might be the most active transfer portal that we've seen yet, Chris, and we are not done. So hey, it's about to get really interesting, and I think it doesn't it close like Monday, this coming Monday.
Yes, it's very weird how things are timed out, and I think guys, there's been rumors that some teams are having to pay their players to keep from entering the portal that are playoff teams.
That is insane.
Because of how the schedule lines up. It's just, a guy like Bo Prabula, the quarterback at Penn State, he didn't want to enter the portal during the season. Penn State's in the playoff, but for his best sake, for him to make the best decision and to get to a school and get things in place, he had to leave his team. And it's not what he wanted to do. The system is all jacked up with how how things are right now, but he's another very talented player that I think, he's garnering a lot of attention. Ole Miss is going to have him visit. UCF is going to bring him in to visit. I mean, Indiana has him on a visit. Wherever he goes, he'll probably be the starter. He's a really good QB, man. I like what Bo brings to the table.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do a team wonders. Whichever campus he steps foot on, I think he has a huge upside about him. And
I'm trying to find the answers. Yeah, I'm trying to see when the portal closes.
Yeah, I thought I heard someone say Monday, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so it's from December 9th to December 28th.
Okay. So it's still a little bit of time left. Okay. Well, hey guys, get your names.
Go ahead and figure out where you're trying to go, because time is ticking.
Yeah. So yeah, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, I think I think this whole format definitely needs to change sooner rather than later, and it will get changed. But What we're seeing right now is very much unprecedented, and I think a lot of blue blood type teams can definitely um, be in serious trouble, Chris, if they don't, strike hard in the portal as well as, regular high school recruiting with the way that this season adds up. And I was talking to my brother earlier this year, and he had mentioned how he feels like this year, which is it's an important year, but he feels like this year coming up is going to be the actual season because we can really see what a transfer portal college football where NIL agents are running rampant, guys are really getting the knack of utilizing this transfer portal in ways we've never seen it before. I think this year, with what we've seen actively in the portal, next year is going to tell a tall tale between the elite and the working class and maybe the not so elite in college football.
Yeah, man, you're right. It's crazy in these streets. It's real crazy, and it's only going to continue to get exposed more and more on who is really serious about winning and who can, more importantly, afford to win. You might want to win, but you might not have the pocketbook that it requires in today's college football to compete to win. We're going to figure something out. So we're going to see. Better if you don't have the pocketbooks, you better hope you at least got the coaching staff in place to maximize your talent. If you can't bring the talent in,
you're absolutely right, Chris, and I think we're seeing that live and in living color. Boosters and different alumni members, all doing their part in getting a lot of great talent to their respective schools. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how all of this plays out and gets restructured and everything, and see how what we're seeing right now plays out on the field come next season. So I'm enjoying it, but at the same time it's like watching like an accident on the interstate. And you ride
it's coming to a crash real soon. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens with all of this craziness in the transfer portal, Chris.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. We'll keep our eyes peeled.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Chris, are you all ready to kind of before we talk about the first round playoff games, you want to talk about some of these bowl games real quick that I've concluded?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, folks, we've had a couple bowl games before we head into the weekend with the first round CFP games coming up. We'll start off with some of the games that happened on Wednesday. Chris, I texted you shortly after this game where, well, not Wednesday, but Tuesday. My apologies. Number 25 Memphis took on West Virginia in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Chris, that's a mouthful, but these bowl games have crazy names. I just love it. It's bowl season. What can I say? But yeah, Chris, the Frisco Bowl happened between both of these teams. Memphis won the game 42-37. Did you see that? Could have been fumble by Memphis. They almost ruined the game.
Boy, if you are a Memphis fan, you lost a couple of hours off your life when that happened.
Your heart dropped.
Your heart dropped, boy. You were shook, and I was shook for you.
Exactly, man. I was I was of the opinion when I saw him slide, I was like, surely he got on the ground, right? But then the ball
Right.
just popped out, and I was just like, oh no, West Virginia's about to, they're about to do the unthinkable. This is bowl season, folks. You know what happens in some of these games? I've grown up to see craziness happen, but it did not.
Oh man, no, it didn't. But nothing's more college football than that sequence.
Yes. No, I agree with you 1,000% on that, Chris. Yeah, that was a crazy turn of events. It was funny. One of his teammates was pointing at him to slide. He was directing him to slide, Chris. And he's just like, no, I'm taking this to the house. This is college football 25.
Wow, this is my moment, right?
This is my moment. Can I have this moment?
Oh boy.
Oh man, but yeah, it was funny to see that towards the end, and yeah, overall, Memphis got the W. They didn't have the season that they had envisioned it, Chris. Of course they wanted to go to the college football playoff. They wanted to win their conference. Um, just
11 and
came up a
2 ain't
little
bad though.
short. No, 11 and
Yeah,
2 is not bad at all. They shouldn't be upset with that. And yeah, they can definitely get ready for next season. And we won't see a Seth Hennigan anymore. But I definitely enjoyed seeing him play for the Tigers.
yeah, man. Seth was a baller. He knew how to spread the ball around.
Yep,
So
that he did.
he will be missed. But you know how Memphis is, man. They got some horses in the stable, so they'll be all right next season.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And they have a pretty decent recruit. Can't don't know the name of the gentleman, but they are looking for one of the star players coming into the program to definitely help them out. So we'll definitely be looking into that throughout the off season. Of course, we'll be following along with that.
Yes, sir.
So yes, sir. So yeah, from Tuesday to Wednesday, Chris, we had two games. On Wednesday, Cal taking on number 24 UNLV in the LA Bowl. UNLV won that game 24-13. It was a little bit of a battle for a while, Chris, but the Rebels stuck it out, got the W, and now who knew, Chris? Former Florida and Mississippi State head football coach Dan Mullen is a UNLV head coach. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
they UNLV got their guy. I mean, that's. I guess he couldn't resist, man. You know, Dan being on TV, he was doing his thing for ESPN, but he got that itch. And I think he's going to just when you look at Dan Mullen's coaching career, then this is a really good situation for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the success he had at Mississippi State. Let's just be honest, a mid-tier SEC school. A lot of people try to look down at Mississippi State. And he brought Mississippi State to prominence, to relevance, coached his team to being the first ever number one team in the college football playoff rankings when they were unveiled in 2014. And Dan Mullen performed his best as a coach at a program where you could be under the radar and maximize recruits. And I think after the experience he had in Florida, going to a UNLV, a program where you can do similar things to what you did at Mississippi State, a program where if you have a really good 10-win season, you potentially are a college football playoff team, or if you get to an 11-win season, 11-1, or go undefeated in the regular season, there's potential that this can be a home run hire for UNLV. So I really like it, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely like it as well. I think Dan has learned a lot in his coaching career, from being at
Mm-hmm.
Florida with Urban Meyer, those days going to Mississippi State. He left. I think some Mississippi State fans would probably say he left immaturely, or some might say
Prematurely and
yeah,
immaturely.
yeah. So, he took the Florida job, and some people will say that Florida job most likely humbled him a lot. In terms of going to a program like that and seeing how good he had already had it at Mississippi State. Just seeing those
If he
expectations.
if he had Dr. Strange in his life and he would have told him his future outcome at Florida, he wouldn't have left state. He would still be the head coach at Mississippi State today.
I think so, and that kind of brings me to a question, Chris. Me and you, are both alums of Mississippi State. I gotta ask you, the whole talk around, Jeff Lebby, who I love. I think he has an opportunity to right the ship at Mississippi State and get them potentially back to those days of a Dan Mullen, and maybe some of those teams that are after Dan Mullen, like the 2018 Mississippi State team. That was like one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country. Those guys were stifling. But I have to ask you, if things potentially don't go as planned with Jeff Lebby taking the reins at Mississippi State, do you think the administration at Mississippi State will or should look back and potentially talk to Dan Mullen, depending on what he does at UNLV? Let's say he does really well in his first season. Do they potentially talk to him, kind of have these talks with him and saying, hey, we're sorry. Why don't you come back? What do you think?
I don't think State would say we're sorry, but I think they might say come back. I think it has the potential to happen.
The window's there. It's like the window's cracked.
It can happen, and it might even work. State hasn't been the same since he left, and
No.
he hasn't been the same since he left.
Really haven't.
They kind of both need each other. It might be that divorce that happened, and then you both realize we love each other. Let's get remarried. It's potential for that to happen.
It's like my family likes watching the House of Pain, Tyler Perry at House of Pain. You remember when CJ and Janine got divorced? And then you look at the brand new shows, and they're back together, they're married, and have the little ones and all of that stuff. It's like that. It's dysfunctional family, Chris.
And I think that it wouldn't be the worst thing that Mississippi State could do. It really wouldn't. I mean, Dan Mullen, like we said, man, he thrives as the underdog. And he knows how beloved and how good he had it at Mississippi State now. And I think how coveted, how highly touted an SEC coaching job is, I think he would jump at the opportunity to go back home and maybe have the chance to right the wrong. Because in our heart of hearts, we all know if Dan Mullen was the coach for that 2018 season, that team doesn't win less than 10 games in the regular season. That Mississippi State team went 8-5 with a new head coach who had an offensive system that was just too much for people to comprehend, and they never got it together during his tenure there.
Yeah,
and that team was custom built for what Dan Mullen was doing, and would have been similar to the 2014 team. That team was that good defensively and would have been so much better offensively and won, 2 or 3 more games just with the competent offense. They went 8-5 with a bad offense. Imagine if they had Dan Mullen there. I mean, that's a 10-win, 11-win team. They really was going to be that good that year and gave Bama their best game of the season, despite how bad the offense was.
Yeah, yeah. They would have been back potentially in a New Year's Six, possibly in the college football playoff had he stayed another year. That team was that good. They needed they needed a guy like Dan Mullen for stability to right the
Mm-hmm.
ship. He should have stayed there.
He
If
should
he
have
was going to
stayed.
leave, he should have stayed there.
If there was a cash out year, that should have been the year that you go 10-2 or 11-1, and then you cash out and leave. He left a year too soon just to go to Florida.
Yeah.
But again, if he's able to go back to state with how things are set up now, if you get 4 or 5 years to try to make some shake on some, to see if you can maybe crack into that top 12 and be a top 3 team in the league one season, that should get you in the college football playoff. I think he would love to have the opportunity to give Mississippi State and Bulldog faithful that chance to see that happen after how things ended when he left and how everybody feels about the 2018 season. We all feel like we had something stolen from us because that team was ready, was custom made to make a run.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think back to losing that Florida game. Just should not happen. At home.
And Cyrus Mitchell and that drop. Oh, man. I thought I forgot about that play until you said the Florida game, but everybody's mind instantly goes to that drop.
Yeah. You just think that those moments hunt Mississippi State fans to eternity. That's all I gotta say.
It didn't matter what good Osiris Mitchell did the rest of his career. He will forever be remembered for that drop in that play. That drop changed the season.
Yeah, it definitely did. So yeah, man, I thought I just had to kind of ask you that question because, with Dan getting back in coaching, it was always rumored that he wanted to get back in coaching. We just didn't really fully see it until now.
No, I think you're on to something, man. If things don't work out with Coach Levy,
and I wanted to.
I wanted to too. We're not trying to get Dan here. Like, we want to see Coach Levy win.
Yes.
But if things don't work out, it might not be the worst idea.
it might not be. It might not be. It's going to be a lot of soul searching within the Bulldog faithful organization and everything, but and with Dan Mullen as well. There's going to be some things that need to be amended for that to potentially become a reality. But I do think, as I said moments ago, that the window's cracked. Somebody just kind of crack the window. let the fresh air come in for something like that to happen. So I kind of bring that analogy to all of this.
Yes, sir. No. Good. Great question, man. All we can do is just sit back and watch and see. If it does happen, look, I'll be like, Kory told y'all.
Yep. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Sometimes I can be right. Sometimes I be wrong.
More times than not, you right, my brother.
Well, I appreciate that. But yeah, man, we'll definitely see what happens with Dan Mullen at UNLV. I think it's a great hire for the Rebels, and yeah, we'll definitely see what he does there. But yeah, that was the LA Bowl, Chris. Lastly, a few more games before we move on to the bigger games of the weekend. Western Kentucky against James Madison in the Boca Raton Bowl. James Madison won 27 to 17. And on Thursday, we had Georgia Southern take on Sam Houston State in the RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That game was 31 to 26. Sam Houston State with the victory. So Yeah, we got to get a nice little taste to start out a bowl season with some interesting ball games, some fun bowl games. And it just gets even better going into the weekend, Chris. We got Ohio at Jacksonville State. Ohio is a 5.5 point favorite to win that ball game in the Cure Bowl. And our first SEC team will have Florida taking on Tulane in the Gasparilla Bowl. Florida is a 10 point favorite in that ball game. So, what are you thinking about some of those games in terms of a Bolton's bets?
Tulane, Florida, boy, that's going to be a fun one.
It is.
With the schedule Florida had this season, if they can somehow turn this year into an 8-win season and go 8-5, boy, they are cooking.
I know. And look, this is a team that, people early in the season, us included, Chris, we were looking at Florida and they were like, look, these dead Gators walking. We didn't know how they were going to figure this thing out, but they did.
And then now, honestly, is Billy Napier even on the hot seat? Like it feels like he's definitely locked in, at least for next season. He might be, if he gets 8 wins out of this year, I think he might be off the hot seat, Kory, because things are only going to get better and better from here.
I think so as well. Look, I mean, he really turned up the notch to 10 head towards the end of the season, Chris. So I mean, you heard what Scott Strickland said, Florida athletic director. He pretty much said that, hey, we stand beside Billy Napier in making sure that he finishes this season off the right way, and they're looking forward to him in 2025. So, hey, they're all full steam ahead with Billy Napier, and a little bit of that is because I think the school is going through a president change as well. So, that does kind of tie into things in terms of stability, in terms of the organization structure for Florida. They want to make sure that they bring in the right leader for Florida, as well as kind of going over some guidelines and things that can help Billy Napier if he is going to stay. So,
yeah. I know we both love Tulane, but I think Florida is a really scary team. They've had some more practices, and they were a team that was just pretty young. And to get these guys more the extra practices, and they're hungry. They are hungry to finish the season off the right way. They are bought in to what Billy Napier is selling. They sipping the Kool-Aid there. So I think this team's going to be hungry, and there is potential that I think they might cover that spread handedly. It's going to be a fun game. Tulane's a very powerful team too under John Sumrall, but I just don't know if they're going to be ready for what Florida has going on, because I know they aren't ranked. But you can't tell me when you watch that team that ain't one of the 20 best teams in the nation, Kory.
Yeah, they had an opportunity themselves to, try to squeeze into the CFP. So, they're licking their chops. They're, going into this game looking to kind of tear up the whole narrative that, group of 5 teams can't hang with SEC schools, especially in the world of the SEC that we're in now, where we got OU, Texas in. It just strengthens the narrative. So I think they're definitely going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, and I'm sure Billy Napier knows that. So it's going to definitely come down to who wants it more, and who's gonna potentially have the horses to back that up in the end.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, but I'm going to side with the Gators. I think the Gators go out there and they play ball. They make some shake, and I think they went by a couple TDs.
I think so too. I think so too. Having a guy like DJ Lagway, who me and you both are very high on for next season. I think they're going to be all right with him in the backfield for the Gators. So, yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Florida to win this ball game too by a couple of touchdowns.
All right.
Nice. So yeah, man. Yeah. So those are all of the games that we're going to see and we have seen so far headed into the first round games of the college football playoffs. So, Chris, we're going to start right now, and we're going to talk about the game that's coming up when you good people listen to this show later on today. Notre Dame, number 7 Notre Dame taking on number 10 Indiana. This is the Indiana State Championship, some people are saying. Notre Dame is a 7-point favorite, Chris, to win this ball game. Over under is at 51.5. Chris, who you got, man? Is Notre Dame going to pull this game out, or do you got Indiana to potentially pull off the upset?
Man, oh man. I've been looking at this game. It's a very intriguing matchup, not only for the simple fact that it's the inaugural first playoff game of the 12-team era, but Indiana is a team that has had a dynamic offense for the most part this season. Of course, they had their struggles when they played in Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And if this game was in a neutral site where the elements were not involved, I think Indiana would have a really good chance at pulling off the upset. And they still might do so. They still might do so.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, oh man, it pains me. I think Notre Dame finds a way. I really do. And I'm just struggling though. Because I'm just being honest with you. I think Coach C, I think Indiana's coach, I think he's a much better schemer than Marcus Freeman. I think Notre Dame has their flaws as a coaching staff. And I think Indiana has had some time to cook up a scheme and a game plan that will shock the world, that they could come out here and really win this game. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. But it's so hard for me to pick Indiana. It's like, if I'm really going to pick Indiana, I'm going to go Notre Dame. But I promise you, Kory, I just have this feeling that Indiana's going to shock the world, even though I'm picking Notre Dame.
Look, I've been going back and forth with this whole thought about this game, Chris, all week. I'm not going to lie. I think Indiana is in a good position to upset Notre Dame in their home field. I know Notre Dame fans don't want to hear that. And if that does happen, the heat on that chair for Marcus Freeman will be at all time high if that happens, Chris. But kind of like what you said, Curt Cignetti is a heck of an X's and O's coach. I think he might have a decent game plan to maybe not 100% stop Notre Dame's offense, but slow them down, especially in terms of their rushing attack. I think they're much more effective as a running team as opposed to their passing. So I think when it comes down to that, I think Coach Cignetti has that game plan to try to slow down this Notre Dame team. both offensively and defensively, because I think they have enough horses to make this a game. I think they can go 4 quarters with Notre Dame.
I'm right there
Win or
with you.
lose.
Yes, and I'm curious to see if this game is close in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Who becomes more tense? Who tightens up? Who gets lemon booty, to quote Bomani Jones? Because there's pressure on both. There's reason for pressure for both teams. Like, imagine you're Notre Dame. It's the fourth quarter. It's the first half of the playoff game, and we're in a tight game with Indiana. You're going to feel that pressure. You don't want to lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're Indiana, it's natural for you to feel pressure because you're not supposed to be. You don't normally play in these games. This isn't Indiana football being in the college football playoff. This isn't what you associate with Indiana football.
Right.
So there's reason for both schools to get tense in that moment. But who will be the team that keeps their composure? Will Notre Dame piggyback off that game in Kyle Field earlier in the season where they did get exposed to some craziness and high pressure moment? Or does Indiana learn from the Ohio State game? And can they stay locked in and play for 60 minutes in this one? We'll see. That's what I'm curious to see, though, is if it is a close game, who keeps their composure when it matters the most?
Absolutely. So yeah, man, we're definitely gonna see. Should be a great game for sure. I'm happy that we get a little taste of some college football first round football coming up today as you guys are listening to this show on a Friday. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes this so intriguing to me.
Yeah, give me, oh boy, give me Notre Dame 31-28.
Okay, all right. I'm going to say Indiana 27, Notre Dame 24.
All right. I'm ready. Gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think it definitely is going to be fun, partner. So yeah, man. Yeah, we got that game on Friday. A 7 p.m. kickoff on ABC. So yeah, I hope everyone is going to be tuned in to watch that game this Friday. So Saturday, a whole slate, Chris. we get up in the morning. We got the middle, the afternoon game, and then we got the evening games. Just a great slate on Saturday. We have, to start out, number 11 SMU taking on number 6 Penn State in the first round. Chris, this game's gonna be at Penn State, so this is going to be an interesting game between two programs that, one, you got Penn State trying to get over the hump in the Big Ten, of course, and just trying to get over the hump in college football. They've kind of been like the punching bag for some teams near the postseason, of course. So, that Penn State's trying to make a name for themselves in this CFP. And they got a big opportunity, Chris, taking on a pretty good SMU team that, I think that Rhett Lashley is going to, he's going to throw the whole game plan out against a team like Penn State, Chris. So should be an interesting ball game. The line right now has Penn State as an 8.5 point favorite. Over under is at 53.5. Chris, who you got in this game?
Man, it pains me to pick both Notre Dame and Penn State to win high pressure college football playoff games, and for some reason I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Call me a Penn State hater. I'll be that. Call me a James Stanklin hater. I'll accept that as well. I think I know the boys from SMU ain't used to that cold that they are going to embark upon at State College. It's going to bite. It's going to hurt. The hits going to hurt harder and much more than they did earlier in the season in that Texas sun. Um, I want to go SMU so badly. I'm gonna go with them. You know what? I'm gonna just go with them. I'm going SMU.
Okay.
I'm going SMU, and they might get beat down. It might be a beat down. I just really like how SMU plays, and they at least lean on their running attack, their rushing attack, their running game. And in a matchup like this where it is cold, it's not like you're playing finesse ball. You do run more of a system where you're going to depend on, going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can control the clock. And I think if you make Drew Allar have to make some plays, he can make the plays, but he can also struggle. We've seen Drew Allar struggle. And so I'm curious to see how Penn State does respond to a high-pressure situation if SMU is hanging around and playing a better game than anticipated. There is the script where SMU really puts the pressure on Penn State to perform, and they fall short. So I'm going to go with SMU to win a tough battle. I think it's going to be a close game. But I will be lying if I said I was 100% confident in that. This can play out several different ways, Kory.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that, Chris, because look, it's James Franklin. You never know what you're gonna get from James Franklin coach football teams nowadays. I mean, look, they had Ohio State on the ropes at Penn State. Like, seal the deal, get the job done. And they just could never do it for whatever reason, Chris. So I say that in saying that I get what angle you're coming from, most definitely. There's a part of me that feels like Penn State could screw this all up at home, just like they did against Ohio State. But a part of me also does feel like there's too much talent on this team to fail, right? Right? Against SMU. And that's not, look, I'm not dogging out SMU. I think this is a really, really good SMU football team. And I think they can potentially get you. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, man, James Franklin, you got to come up with a really good game plan, because if you don't, Red Lashley, he's going to make you pay.
Yeah, no, you're right. He can make you pay. This is a stay away game for both aspects, and it might end up being a Penn State blowout win. But do you really want to invest your U.S. coin on James Franklin? I think this is something we've learned, Kory.
Franklin coin.
Do you want to invest your well earned money that you got working as hard as you did for the last few weeks on that team and on James Franklin? I just don't think so. I think there's other ways to spend your coin, Kory.
There's other ways to spend my Ethereum.
Yeah. You deserve to put your coin on a reliable source, and I just don't think James Franklin at Penn State is reliable enough. So they may go out here and get the blowout, but I think Penn State is just one of those programs that I got to see it happen. Yeah. Before I changed my feelings otherwise, I just got to sit back and see them perform up to expectation.
No, I definitely get what you mean, Chris. This game is kind of like a flip of a coin. It's definitely a coin toss kind of game. Oh man, it's we don't know if we're gonna get good Penn State or bad Penn State. You know, we don't really know until the game starts, and I'll give it a half. I'll give it the first half. If what we see in the first half might be the story of how the rest of the game goes out. If Penn State is clicking on all cylinders, Drew Allard isn't making many mistakes, because sometimes he can do that. You know, he kind of gets kind of scatterbrained at times, or you know, it's like he hitting the pause button. And it's like things are just kind of going a little bit too too slow or maybe too fast for him. And you know, in terms of processing the field, you know, it's all going to depend on those factors. You know, and once we see that, then we'll kind of get a notion on, hey, are they handling this moment properly? You know, are they not handling this moment too big or not? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm interested to see how this game takes shape, because I think that this one, just like the Notre Dame Indiana game, could potentially create chaos. And we love chaos on this show, Chris. We talk about chaos all the time.
And you know, with us throwing in this wrinkle of the 12-team playoff, and it's not like there's any dominant team this year. Anything can happen in these games.
Yeah.
The upset potential's there. So we'll see how it plays out. But I promise you, however this game plays out would not shock me. A Penn State blowout? I can see that. They're at home. It's cold. Yeah. SMU wasn't ready for it at the moment. An SMU blowout. It wouldn't shock me. James Franklin, the head coach of Penn State. Penn State's still Penn State. So, I mean, regardless of the outcome, I will not be shocked at all. But you know what? That sounds about right.
Yeah. Why not? You know, it sounds like it was meant to happen. Oh man, but no, it should be a fun one indeed. So yeah, we'll definitely be watching that game, of course, Chris, and we'll be, I know me and you will be going back and forth with all these games, just kind of seeing how all these games take shape. But yeah, so yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. That game, SMU and Penn State, is your morning game. So yeah, be sure to tune in to that one. Afternoon game, Chris. Number 12 Clemson taking on number 5 Texas at DKR. Texas 12-point favorite to win the ball game. Over under is at 51.5, Chris. This is definitely gonna be an interesting ball game. We got Cade Klubnik on one end, and we got Quinn Ewers on the other end, and both of these guys battle each other back in high school for the state championship. So this is going to be a barn burner, and this is one of those games that you know, you have to have somebody like Jim Ross, you know, famous professional wrestler commentator Jim Ross, you know, saying, you know, these two teams are tougher than $2 steaks. You know, they're just duking it out.
Tougher than $2 steaks. Oh, but he's not lying though. This will be a very interesting game. You know, as much as we think as good of a team that we think Texas is, and as much as a national championship contender they are in a sense unproven.
Yeah,
they haven't gotten a signature win yet, and I think Cade Klubnik, you don't know necessarily what you're going to get from him game to game, but dare I say, he may have a higher ceiling than a Quinn Ewers in a game like this. Like Cade his flashes have been better than Quinn's flashes as of late. You know, there's not the chatter going on surrounding Cade that there is with Quinn. So a
Yeah.
lot of different things at play, and I wholeheartedly think that Texas is the better team. But for one game, one moment, and then Cade's coming back home to Texas, I'm not going to sit here and pick Clemson to win, but I doggone to see a game where this is a one possession game late. This is a close finish. I think this might be much closer than what people are thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And, on top of that, Chris, Cade, he's just more healthier than Quinn is at this point of the season. Think about Cade. Cade doesn't get injured like that, so he's pretty good at protecting himself. And you can hats off, tip your cap off to the offensive line for Clemson. They've definitely been a catalyst at that. But he definitely does make sure to take care of his body. Not so much with Quinn Ewers. I mean, unfortunately, Quinn has had some tough breaks, throughout his college career, especially with Texas. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting ball game. I think this game is going to be a ground and pound them type of a game. Tons of defense, tons of offense as well. I think that there's going to be some potential top 10 ESPN plays by the end of the night on Saturday with this game. But yeah,
This is going to be crazy.
Oh yeah,
Golden and Wesco.
Yeah. I think Moffa's coming back at the running back position for Clemson. He was a little bit banged up, I think, in the ACC championship game. So all signs look for him to be present in this ball game. So it's I can't wait for this ball game, because out of all of them, this one definitely has my interest. It has my eyes glued to the television on Saturday. So yeah, man, if I had to pick somebody, this is a tough one, Chris. This is and this is a different kind of tough. I mean, we talked about the other games, man, but like both teams, they need this win. If Texas doesn't win this game, everything that they work for, and look, you know about this class just like I know about this whole team that they've constructed at Texas, Chris. Like, you get all of this top tier talent and you can't win a natty, that's a failure.
Hey, if Texas loses this game, Sark's feet, it suddenly becomes not as hot as Ryan Day's, but it might be hotter than Billy Napier. Billy might not have the hottest feet in the SEC no more if that happens.
Billy's just gonna be like, "Oh, thank you, thank goodness."
His seat might get hotter than Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is coaching for his life right now.
Yeah, that's the reason why he right now he's trying to call himself the Portal King right now. So any way to kind of lessen the blow.
But no, Texas cannot afford to lose this game.
No,
not with the preseason expectations that were set on this team. Not when you have that young man Arch Manning that's been waiting to get slid into the mix. If Texas is struggling and they are looking inept at offense, Arch Manning will take Quinn's spot. That's how much of a must-win this game is. Sark cannot go out without trying Arch if it's looking ugly and something has to be done. If a jolt has to be brought into this offense, you got to make the call. We just go ahead and talk about it now. You got to pull him and put Arch in if it's looking bad, Kory.
Yeah, look, you have said this live and in living color on this podcast, Chris, that the choice needs to be made. You've already showcased that to the world earlier this season against Georgia, the first time around. Don't
Mm-hmm.
tell me, don't tell me you just got cold feet all of a sudden and it's the first round. You know, a lot of people here in Austin, Chris, they ain't gonna have that. They ain't gonna like that.
Oh,
You
not one
gotta,
bit.
you gotta make the
Not one
call.
bit.
You gotta make the call.
You got to pull a Saban. If it ain't working, you just gonna have to go ahead and go to Tua. In this case, Tua is Arch. So we'll see.
We'll see. We will see, man. But yeah, that definitely, this game will definitely be an interesting one for sure. I'm pulling for Texas because I think they got a lot more to lose. I think if Clemson loses, I think a lot of Clemson fans have already kind of come to grips where, maybe a little bit we're not even supposed to be here, but here we are. So, I'm really looking at Texas to win this ball game. I would say Texas 24, Clemson 17 in this game. So we'll see.
I'm gonna go Texas 31, Clemson 20, and that's because they do make the switch. I'm calling that the switch happens in the game. I think it's going to be a Clemson jumps ahead to an early lead.
Okay.
And people get a little restless, and the move is made. And once the move is made, Texas takes off from that point on.
At that point, the rest will be history. Sark made the decision. Everything is right in the world in Austin. No one's angry.
If that happens, boy, the Texas College Football Podcast, the radio shows are going to be just insane for the next few days if that's how it plays out. I'm gonna have to find some Texas college football content to listen to see their reaction, to hear their reaction.
Oh, I'll send y'all the links. I'll send y'all the links. That will be my job over the weekend if that happens, sir. I won't let you down.
Can't you hear it? You live in Austin, so you know how the reaction would be.
Oh yeah. It would be like it would be a whirlwind of just anger and strife going on. Like people will be very, very upset if Texas isn't able to win this first round playoff game at DKR here in Austin. So yeah,
This
there's
defense.
a lot riding on it. Yeah, this defense, one of the best defenses
This is a
I've
championship
seen.
level defense. Mm-hmm. And Sark is an offensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure this thing out. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens in this game, Chris. 3 p.m. is the kickoff. It's going to be on TNT and Max. Both this game and at Penn State SMU game, both of those games will be on both of those networks. So that'll be interesting. To see that. But yeah, man, we'll definitely see what happens in that game. And finally, Chris, number 9 Tennessee taking on number 8 Ohio State. Tennessee has to travel to Columbus, Ohio to take on the Buckeyes. A lot of jokes have been made about this game just because yeah. In terms of the weather and everything, I don't know if it's gonna be snowing in this game or what, but yeah, some people are calling the horseshoe Neyland Stadium already. This is look, this isn't like a regular rivalry, but at this point, let's just do it.
I love it. I love it. Neyland North is what they are calling, what they call in the Ohio Stadium. So And Tennessee fans have been waiting for this. They've been talking their noise all off season.
Yep.
They expected to be in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
We expected them to be in the playoff.
Yeah.
And now it's time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they smell blood. At least the fans do, at least.
Oh, yeah.
College football world smells blood when it comes to Ohio State.
Oh, my God. It's just like a rattlesnake just hunting its prey right now. And the prey is the Ohio State Buckeyes. But yeah,
Yep.
man, this is gonna be an interesting game, Chris. Ohio State, the line right now 7.5 for OSU. Over under is at 45.5. So that's the smallest over under we've seen in the first round so far. So Vegas is looking at something that maybe a lot of us haven't seen already, or maybe some of us already feel. I can kind of get the sentiment that maybe this game is going to be a defensive affair, I should say. So, what are your thoughts about this game, Chris? Because this just like the Texas game, a lot is riding on Ohio State this weekend.
Yeah. In a vacuum, Ohio State, this is a very extremely talented roster.
Mm-hmm.
In a vacuum, maybe if you remove the emotion that's involved with the Michigan game, they should come out with a much better game plan. They should execute. They should force Nico Iamaleava to make plays and to win this game for Tennessee. And if that's the case, it should bode well for Ohio State. Nico, as talented as he is, has had his struggles all season long. This is a road environment, 100,000 screaming fans cheering against Tennessee. All the signs point towards Ohio State winning. But then there's also the human element of Ryan Day is really, he's feeling it right now.
Yeah.
There is, there's a cloud above this Ohio State program. A lot of pressure, a lot of angst. Do we lose? Can we bounce back from beating Michigan? Our offense has struggled all season. Tennessee's defense is arguably the toughest defense you will have played against this season. And that's the team that's played against Oregon. Are you ready for what Tennessee's going to bring? Coach Heupel is a guy who loves these kind of moments. I think we might get one of Coach Heupel's best game plans, one of his best call sheets with how he calls a game and everything. It's got a lot of plays, and this is a moment that we haven't gotten to cover him, but we've seen his career and how it's unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just looking gets chopped for this opportunity, and so there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at play, and man, Tennessee's very talented too. I think Tennessee finds a way to win a close one. Ohio State's offensive line has had their struggles. They have been injury riddled. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's D-line is one of the best D-lines in the country. It's going to be tough to run a football all game against Tennessee. And in the battle of whose quarterback can go win the game, I know Tennessee's on the road, and I know Nico has had his struggles. But if I'm a side with the quarterback, I'm siding with Nico over Will Howard. And I'm siding with Coach Heupel over Ryan Day. And I know Ryan Day is a proven good coach and has summoned up his best in some of these moments, like they did against Georgia. And other teams he's had coached great games. Something feels different about this one. And I think we all sense that pressure. And like we said before, if it gets to the fourth quarter, it's a close game. That stadium's going to feel it. that team's going to feel it on the sidelines. I think Tennessee edges out a field goal game winner in Ohio Stadium. 21-20. 24. I'll say 21-20. Now we'll go 2017 because I think it's going to be low scoring. We'll go 2017 Tennessee.
Okay. Man. Look, we talk about Austin. Man, Columbus might be in flames if that. Oh my God, Chris. Oh my God. If that happens, Columbus will be literally under fire. All you will see is rubble from that city.
You gonna see the first road team field storm, and it's gonna be nothing but orange storming the field. They actually going to take the goalpost down.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Like all the surrounding cities in the state of Ohio, they're just gonna bar themselves. Like Cincinnati, they're gonna put a big fence around. Dayton, they gonna put a big fence around. Cleveland, they gonna put a whole wall around. They're like, I don't want to deal with what's going on over there. We don't want any of that activity. Oh my God! No, that would be big for Josh Heupel in Tennessee if they can get the W against Ohio State. Going in that environment, that would be huge. And I know it's going to be cold. I mean, some people have wondered, about games with snow, of course, but I don't think there will be snow in the forecast, but we'll see. But yeah, that would be a definite victory if that takes place with Tennessee toppling Ohio State. I'm going to say Ohio State will still win. To me, I think with this game being at home, with everything that has transpired with this team, a lot has happened, of course, just in terms of just the feeling going around Columbus right now. I think a lot of these guys know, the players know that, hey, this is it. If we can't win this, we're done. And potentially, whatever happens with the head coach position, that will probably expedite things, and things will be, said and potentially done throughout the offseason. So I think these guys at Ohio State, they know what's at stake, and I think they're gonna try to right the ship for Ryan Day's sake and try to get the victory over Tennessee. I think one of the things about Tennessee is that all season, Chris, we've kind of seen this like slow start with some of the top teams that they've played, and they won them. They won some of those games. They've also lost some of those games. And, it particularly when we're looking at Nico, these slow starts from him, are we going to get that? Or are we going to get the Nico Iamaleava that's going to, lay the chips all the way down, and him and Josh Heupel and their offense, they're going to try a lot of different things and give off a lot of different looks to confuse the defense from Ohio State. So I'm going to be looking at that, but overall, I'm going to stick with Ohio State potentially winning this ball game. My score would be 24 Ohio State, Tennessee 14.
I mean, that wouldn't shock me. I will say though, if it ends up being a high scoring game, I don't think that bodes well for Ohio State. I think Tennessee. I think if it gets to be a shootout, I think Tennessee can actually put the pressure on Ohio State. Um, and we'll see if Will Howard can keep up. But either way, it's going to be a fun game because there's so much at play here. Like Ryan Day needs this. He needs this. You cannot afford to lose back to back games. Michigan at home, the first playoff game at home. That's how you get fired.
That is how you get fired in this new world of college football. That's when you gotta go. Look, just give me the keys to the office. Give me the keys to your car. You gotta go. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
I agree with you.
They on that. That's when the AD he gonna come in there like Pinky did on next Friday. Roach, or you go, but Day you fired, and Roach, you fired too. So hey, Ryan Day, you fired. Chip Kelly, you fired too.
I think regardless, they can win a whole national championship. I think he getting his papers.
Yeah, man, it hasn't been working with Chip Kelly there, but yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I love all these matchups.
Yeah.
It's not the ideal playoff. We would have loved to have a couple tweaks. The seeding is a little janky too, but for what it's worth, all the matchups are intriguing.
Yeah, yeah. All of them are intriguing. Can't wait to watch all of them. We're definitely gonna know a lot about all of these playoff teams over the weekend, of course. And I know me and you will have our own dialogue about them. Um, behind the scenes and on the show when we come back for
Yes,
Monday's
sir.
episode. So yeah, partner. So yeah, it should be fun indeed. And we'll definitely see what happens with these games. It should be fun. But yeah, before we get out of here, Chris, do you have any Bolton's bets odds for any of these games or any of the other bowl games over the weekend?
Hey, I'm gonna just tell you to rock with Florida to cover. I think Florida's going to play some inspired football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Clemson take the points. Texas minus 12. I think that odds are that ends up being a closer game. I think it's a better chance that it's a close game than it is that Arch gets subbed in and Texas takes off. But if Arch gets subbed into the game and he gets given the keys, don't be shocked if Texas plays to a level we haven't seen them play at this season. If the offense looks a different way than how it's been looking lately, we'll see. But I think Clemson's going to make this real interesting in Austin and uncomfortable for Longhorn fans.
Oh, indeed, indeed. It's that's what Lane would say. Get your popcorn ready.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And honestly, I think Tennessee, they're getting spotted 7.5. Ohio State 7.5 point favorites. Look, I think it could be a close game in that one too. But I would lean more towards the under in that ball game.
Yeah.
So you can take the under for the 45.5. I think it's going to be just two defenses duking it out in that one.
Nice. Yeah, man. It should be a fun one indeed. Like I said, we're definitely gonna be talking about these games over the weekend, and yeah, we'll definitely be back, folks, with Monday's show to kind of recap everything that happened, of course. But yeah, Chris, another great episode, sir. Always great to talk football with you, talk college football. So yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So outros before we head out of here, Chris. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can holler at your boy on X at Chris_Bolton_12 and on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_.
Awesome. Awesome. And yeah, folks, you can find me on X at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football, professional wrestling. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. But yeah, guys, we'll definitely be back with another episode on Monday to recap everything that went down over the weekend in terms of some of the bowl games and the first round of the inaugural 12-team college football playoff format. So yeah, be sure to tune in to there. And yeah, we will catch y'all then, of course. But until next time, guys, I'm Kory Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We will chat with y'all later. Peace.
Peace.